Serendipity Intended. My name is Tracy Ann, and I am excited to talk with you again today. So I have here a pile of just a couple of my journals, and I chose these because they're some of my favorites. And what I really wanted to do was talk about the next challenge that I'm going to get involved in coming up in July, called Junk Journal July. So let me first clear some of these out of the way because some of these are not really junk journals. Here's one. This was from Junk Journal January last year. We might look at that one in a little bit, but for now I'm going to set it out of the way over here. And this is my Junk Journal July journal from this past this is my Junk Journal July from last year journal, and I think in some ways this might be my very favorite journal. I had such a great time with this challenge in particular, and I have to admit I was really sad when I found out that Meg at Meg Journals, who has been the host of Junk Journal July and Junk Journal January for a number of years, decided not to do that challenge anymore. Now I totally understand her reasons and 100% support that decision, but I admit I was a little bit sad. So for those of you that aren't familiar with the challenge, I'm not going to show this whole journal right now. I have other videos that show different pieces, and I do plan to make a flip through at some point, but for now I just want to open up to where I actually have the challenges listed, the prompts that is. So the way that the challenge works is that there is a set of prompts, and here they are, for the month of January, and you do one prompt each day for the entire month of January. And I couldn't quite fit this height-wise into my journal, so I decided just to fold it. But there is a set of prompts that you go through, and that's really the only true rules of the prompt, or of the challenge, is that you kind of follow the prompts. But anyway, I really had such a great time last July, and so much fun, in fact, that when I got to the end of January of this year, because I did do the Junk Journal January 2025 challenge. I'm actually still working on that journal, so that will be another video altogether. But I was so excited, and like I said, I'm still working on that journal, but I got so excited that I thought I'm going to get started figuring out what journal to use. And that was originally what I wanted to do the video on. And then I found out that she wasn't doing the challenge anymore, and I thought, well, what'll I do? And I had thought, okay, well, I will just go back to some of the older challenges that I didn't participate in, and I'll pull one of those sets of prompts. So that's what I had planned to do. And then Creativity and Coffee decided to do a Junk Journal July of her own in the spirit of Meg's challenges. And so I am going to use these prompts for that challenge, and I will include a link to her YouTube and also to the challenge prompts so that you have them. But what this video is really going to be about is how I chose my journal for this challenge. So going back to April, before I knew that Meg wasn't doing her challenge anymore, I was thinking about my Junk Journal July from the previous year, and some of the lessons that I learned. And one of those is, as you can see by the size of this journal, it got chunky really quickly. And I didn't expect it to get quite this chunky. I mean, I guess I probably should have, because this was Junk Journal January from 2024. And it also got chunky, but not nearly as chunky as this one. So this one was kind of low-key out of control. But I realized something as I thought about that, and was thinking about, well, what journal do I want to choose? So typically when I do a journal like this one, although this one I doctored quite a bit, but when I choose a journal, I typically start with a journal like this. So pamphlet stitched, one signature inside of it, and with some pages that I really enjoy. This is one that I purchased from a shop, an Etsy shop, and it's probably my first one that I purchased. Is from Paper and Pine Cones is the name of the shop, and Janice is a lovely woman. I still haven't used this journal because I am absolutely in love with it. Anyway, that's not the point here. But this is the type of journal that I prefer. It feels good in my hand size-wise. And in the past, when I've done more stamping and watercoloring and just a small amount of collage, this has been fine. But as I've kind of progressed in my journaling, I've gotten into a lot more than that, and quite a bit of bulk has now been added. And so what I realized was this kind of journal, even though I love it, isn't always the best kind of journal for me to play in. And that sort of led me to a bit of an aha moment. Now, what I mean by that is this. I realized that if I wanted to play in a journal and do something like, I don't know, this is a really old journal. This is from 2013 to 2014. I wanted to do something more like this, where I was kind of creating, you know, not a lot of layers, a lot of drawn work, maybe some tip-ins, some washi tape, you know, a couple of things, but a lot of my own artwork. That a thinner journal, one that you know doesn't have a lot of room to give on the spine, was really okay, was sufficient for what I wanted to do. But if I wanted to play and really go crazy with tip-ins and layers upon layers and really kind of go to town and not be limited by bulk, that I really, this maybe was not the best type of journal for me to choose. And that decision that I wanted to be able to play and not be limited led me to choosing the journal that I chose. And this actually isn't a journal. It's actually a book called The Guerrilla Art Kit. It's by Carrie Smith. And I bought this book, I read it, I enjoyed it thoroughly. There are a lot of pages that are now taken out of this book, but you know, it's got some cool artwork, some fun pages, some interesting pieces. It reminds me a little bit of smash books that used to be really popular in terms of some of the pages and papers that are in here. And I decided this would be a really fun journal to play with, because with the pages that I'd already taken out, it already had quite a bit of room built in, and there are way more papers in here than I would need for a monthly challenge. So as I went through, there would be plenty for me to take out. You know, I've sort of labeled some of the ones that I think I want to keep because I think they're fun and they fit with sort of the feel that I wanted to go with. But then there's other pages that, you know, maybe I will or I won't keep, you know, like this one. You know, the back side of this isn't terribly interesting. Maybe there's a way to use this in some other journal, but this page might come out. Similarly, this page could come out. So yeah, so anyway, so this is the journal that I'm going to use, and I love this. It reminds me of one of my favorite online stores called Natural Life, sort of girly boho look. And this feels like summer to me, this page. And so this page is sort of the inspiration for my junk journal, July journal. And I also want to show you, so setting this over to the side just a little bit. I already have a box O stuff here that I've put together, obviously the prompts, with just some random, odd, quirky stuff that I've been collecting that I thought might fit the feel of the journal that I was going for. So this little book of happy notes that had some fun pages in it that I thought maybe I could use. Some bits and pieces. I think this actually might have come from one of those Smash kits. This was actually from a pizza box that I cut out. Some photos from me as a child in the summer. Some other sort of fun things. You know, a photo filter. I don't know what I could do with this, but it's kind of fun. Z cups for Zeke's coffee, some fun quirky stickers, butterflies. So just lots of little random bits and pieces that sort of seemed like they could be fun to include in sort of a boho junkie journal. I also have some papers and pages and cards that I thought could be great tip-ins, and so they're in here. This really funny sticker that I got when we went to Boston a number of years ago, I think like 2008 or 2009, but it cracked me up and I still have it, so maybe I'll use that. Just some other random things, again from Crazy Cups Coffee, but just I thought it was kind of fun. Some fabric that I picked up at the store that also felt like it might work, that may be used on the inside. I might also end up using it on the cover, haven't quite decided. Some postcards that I thought were neat. So just, you know, a whole variety of random things. Some bags that I thought were really fun that could make some fun pockets. Some paper that fit, that sort of, especially this one, I love these birds, but that I thought kind of fit the feel a little bit. So just some bits and pieces that I've been sort of collecting as I come across them in my stash. Also this, just because it's a little vintagey, Nancy Drew's Guide to Life, my bestie gave me this and I've had it. But there's some great quotes in here and also some sort of fun pages that I thought might be interesting to use somehow in a journal, or not. But again, just some of the quotes are kind of fun as well. So that's in here, and maybe I'll use it, maybe I won't. The other thing I'm really excited about, oh, I forgot about these. So I also, I have these paper dolls that they're probably, I was thinking originally more like 50s, but they're kind of sassy. So I cut these out too because I thought they might be fun to include, especially some of these clothing that they're wearing. I thought they might be kind of fun to include in my journal as well. So yeah, so I've got my inspiration here, my inspiration page here, and the cover. But one thing I definitely am going to keep, because I share a last name with the author. So while I may cover this up and replace this spine with, you know, Junk Journal July 2025 or something like that, I'm definitely going to keep the Smith up there because that just really tickles me. And this also I will probably change up in some way, possibly cover it with fabric or paper. Again, haven't quite decided yet what I want to do. But anyway, that is the sort of the starting point that I'm going to use. And you can see, like I said, I've already taken out some of the pages. I've also gone through and I've checked off the pages. I might keep this one too, just because I like the idea of keeping something from the original book in here. So I've labeled the pages that I do want to keep and use, and then I've also checked some of the ones that I think I'm also going to hang on to. So I want to keep this. I want to keep this. I think this might be where I put the prompts. I think that would be a great place for the prompts to go. Maybe keep this. I think this guy is really funny. But then some of the other pages, I don't know. Maybe I'll keep them. Maybe I won't. Definitely want to keep these two pages. And again, with these keeping pages, I may keep them as is, as just, you know, breather pages in the journal, or I may do something with this, you know, take this as the beginning and then add, you know, one of my vintage people and create something else with it. So, you know, again, it's kind of fun to have these pre-done pages to play with, as well as other pages that, you know, I may or may not want to keep and use. You know, some of these would be great background for collaging over top of, or painting over and then creating on top of. So we'll have to see. So again, definitely want to keep this one. I want to keep this one. Not sure if I'm going to keep the whole thing or just the title, but I like this page. Definitely want to keep this page. Again, some of the others, depends on what I'm inspired to do at the time. But like, so here, for example, this is like different things to notice. And the original author's idea was that you could wander around and look for things of beauty and then write about them and post them for people to read. And I think that's a really fun idea. So I may keep part of this page as well. But if not, then using this idea of little notices to create a 2-page spread, I thought would be maybe kind of a fun thing to play with. So, you know, and then here, do I keep this? Do I keep the please take one and tie that in? Again, not sure. Definitely want to keep this page. Definitely think I'll keep this page. Maybe keep this page. Love that one. Maybe, maybe not on this one. So again, just some pages that I could use. Like, she's fun, and this is where I got that idea to capture some of the vintage paper dolls. Again, my inspiration page in terms of color and feel, although I guess actually all the pages that I'm keeping are, this is really more a color feel page than anything. These are the colors I'm going to try and use because they seem really summertimey to me. So again, if you've been paying attention to the page numbers, you can see that I've taken some out, and then in other places I've left them in. Especially towards the back where there's more just instruction types of pages and not necessarily these color pages. So then she had some templates back here. So like this, I don't know that I want to keep that and use that. This I thought could be fun to collage over. So I might take this out and use this for something else. Same thing with this. I might make a fun doodad. And again, some things to use and play with. And yeah, that's the end. So this is going to be my Junk Journal July 2025 journal. And I hope that you join me on this challenge and have some fun this July. Bye.